business? Like many of us, I'm sure you're feeling it. Business is hard. And now more than ever, you need to have a plan to help your business not just survive, but thrive. I'm Marcia Reiner. I'm a business growth strategist on a mission. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, guides your growth, and plans for a future exit. Because a business worth selling is also a business worth owning. I want to share these strategies that I've earned and learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But before we get started, I have something to share with you listeners. I've got 5 ways to turn your business into one worth selling. Go pick that up on my website at trajectory, get my mouth to work, that's biz.com. And I'm really excited to have my guest today, Dr. Amanda Barrientez. I hope I said that correctly. Dr. Amanda is an NFA. All right, guys, hold on. No fucking around business consultant who helps coaches and online entrepreneurs align their energy, mindset, and habits to attract easier money using her proprietary NFA moneymaker methods. After going from food stamps to building a 6-figure business fast, she's been on a quest to teach business builders how to make more money doing exactly what they love to do. Well, we're all about that right here on the podcast. So Amanda, welcome to Profit with a Plan.
Hey, Marcia, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Okay, first of all, I love the flippin' name. I was like, I love it. She's just so honest and brings it out. And, we all have money challenges.
Yes, I'd like to say that we don't go like, oh, someday you'll break through all of them. But what I've noticed with everyone I've worked with and myself is that every time you have a growth spurt, you run into a new money block. And so, that the money is a big one, and it can limit your profitability when you get stuck and don't know how to get unstuck.
You know what? That's so true. So, a lot of listeners, they may come in and go, money blocks, mindset, that's woo-woo, that's not my gig. But it really should be, right?
Absolutely. I think when you say that, what it makes me think of is that most people will think I should just know how to do money. And if I don't, something's wrong with me. So there's a lot of shame around it. And so I love to help people see that, first, it's not shameful or embarrassing to not totally know what you're doing, and to also have those unconscious blocks because you can't see them for yourself. And you just assume I should know how to do this. If I don't, something's wrong with me and I've got to figure it out on my own. And I often say to people, there's 2 things that we don't want to talk about at the dinner table, and it's either sex or money.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. But when we talk about the word blocks, we don't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes we're running and trying to do more or harder. A lot of business owners think if they just do more, they'll make more money, they'll be more profitable. That's not always the answers, right? There's blocks in the way.
Absolutely. In fact, often when you do more, you might make more. We can't say that you won't, because I've definitely seen people work, long days, hard hours. When I started my business, I worked a lot and I was successful, and I worked too hard. And so every year one of my main mantras now is work less, make more, have fun. Yeah. And the reason I can do that is because I've gotten better at understanding money blocks and going, okay, I have these limiting beliefs, and that's causing me to work too hard, which is causing me to feel burnt out, which is actually pushing people away. Because when you get in that kind of desperate, overwhelmed state, and those sometimes go together and sometimes they're separate. It might just be that you're overwhelmed and you're putting the energy out there like, I don't even
I can't take any more clients.
I can't anymore. Exactly. Like I'm maxed. And so people feel that energetically, and then they go like, I'm not sure if I want to work with you because you're not vibrant and alive and having fun. When you're vibrant, you're having fun, people are automatically attracted to you.
See, that's something that I didn't correlate. I'm very much an energetic person, and I believe in energies and things that we do. But when you're stressed at work because you're trying to do more, or whatever's blocking you from getting this project done, that bounces off and goes to your potential clients, and they're like, oh, she's too busy for me. Or like you said, she's not excited or energetically, aligned to work with me. I never put those 2 together. That's interesting.
Yeah. Anytime you notice yourself feeling negative about your business or working, you are in a state of, I just think of it almost as like a block, like if you had a physical block, you have a block that you're sending out to people like, I'm overwhelmed. don't contact me. And of
Mm,
course, that's not what we want. And we do
no.
it. And so actually, I don't know how woo-woo you want to get. I like to talk about practical manifestation. So I really
Love
help
it.
people with
Thank you.
strategies that are actionable. And in that, underneath it is that, I look at the universe, God, whatever words you want to use is helping you with that signal. Like if you're sending out a signal, I'm overwhelmed, the universe is like, oh, cool. Okay, we'll slow it down so that you can get rejuvenated. Right.
Shoot myself in the head with that one, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so let's talk about that when we talk about tools that we can put into our daily activity that maybe that will attract money and clients and the things that we want out of that. How do we do that?
The first thing when you want to get aligned is asking yourself what you enjoy. And most people, I love that we started this conversation with thinking about overwhelm, because most people think when something's not working, they need to add something to their plate. They go like, oh my God, I need to add this strategy or this new social media platform or this, whatever it is, program, package, product, service. And they
Yeah.
just add more and more and more instead of going like, wait, let's slow down. Sometimes we need to take a step back to take many steps forward. And so in the
Mm,
taking of that step back, I like to tell people, block out time to take a step back. You
mm,
need to have creative free play time, and you actually need to do it every day. And so
okay.
it doesn't have to look huge. It could be like, what is one thing that brings you joy? And whatever that is, make sure you do a little bit of it every single day, because you work a lot less when you feel good. When you feel stressed, you attract more stress your way. And so it's counterintuitive, because we go, oh, I'm stressed, I need to push harder to get through this stress, because once I get to the other side of it, I'll feel happier or I'll feel better. And it's the exact opposite. So
That's
most
crazy.
people have it completely backwards. And we need to
Yeah.
first get ourselves into a state of joy, fun, flow, alignment, which is easier for some than others, because most entrepreneurs and driven people are in I would say, an addictive habit to stress. And they go like, stress motivates them, it pushes them, it keeps them going. We don't even know what to do without it sometimes. We're like,
Right.
what? How do I relax for 5 minutes?
I can totally see that because we are driven. We're trying to achieve the almost unachievable because business is hard. As I say in my intro, not that it's difficult, but that it takes a lot more to get going. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So we've taken on this hard challenge right off the get-go. And we feel like we need to constantly push and push and push. And like you're at your kid's game on the weekend and you're thinking about your business.
Yeah.
And you're at your spouse's dinner and you're going, oh man, I didn't send out that thing. It's constant. So you say by just simply doing something joyful for ourselves, I can balance that?
You can start. The thing you got to know is it's a habit. Like
Mm,
everything we do in our life, the success that we have is a habit. Our happiness is a habit. Our relaxation is a habit. Our stress is a habit. And so you got
mm,
to start making small incremental changes over time. So for me, when I started my business, I was completely addicted to stress. I mean, I had 3 kids in grad school on food stamps. Like I was stressed. And I was scared. And so that fear and stress really motivated me to push hard, which in some ways was amazing because it helped me break through my, the 6-figure mark in my business the first year. And I was burnt out and tired and overloaded by the end of that year. And I
I
don't
can
want to
imagine.
teach people to do that. So you
I
go,
can imagine.
okay, how am I going to realign myself so that it's possible to know that I can build a business that's easier and be okay with the patience of it. Most people want overnight success, and so
Of
they push
course.
really hard, right? And they go, oh my God, if I don't get there fast enough, and I'm not like that, this person, then they're negatively comparing themselves to someone else who
Oh my
is
gosh. Yeah.
probably 10 years ahead of them in business. Usually, like when someone says to me, I have clients say to me, but they're getting there faster and their success. And I go like, well, when did they start their business? And tell me the context of their lives. Why are you comparing yourself to somebody else that's 10 years ahead of you and thinking you need to be exactly where they are? And I promise you that if you were where they are right now, you wouldn't be ready for it, or you'd already have it, because
Right.
you're getting exactly what you're ready for. So you've got to prime yourself to be ready by being in a state first and then attracting that your way, which it takes habitual daily action. So I always tell people like your morning routine, very important, Very, very important. So this is where manifestation gets really practical. People think like, oh, manifestation is about like sitting on the couch and wishing some big thing my way. No, manifestation starts with your journaling in the morning and your exercising in the morning. That's where manifestation starts, because you are getting energetically aligned in the morning, first thing, and then everything gets easier and you're clearer headed and you're more strategic and you're more aware and you're more in your zone of genius, which then allows you.
Hang on just a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I knew that cough was coming. So where were you again?
No problem. Yeah. So we were talking about making sure that you get energetically aligned first. And so I always think about this as the be, do, have. And I have yet to meet a person who doesn't have this backwards. They think that once I have it, I'll be it. So here's a really good example. Oh, once I get to be successful in my business, I'll stop being so stressed. I'll take better care of myself. I'll start going to the gym every day. It's the opposite. You've got to be aligned first, then you get to have all the things that come along with that. Here's a really fun example. Imagine if you're like, I need to lose 20 pounds, so I'll start going to the gym once I lose 20 pounds.
Of course.
That's exactly how we see our business.
Wow.
We go like, oh, once I'm successful, I'll stop being so stressed. Once I'm successful, I'll start saving money. Once I'm successful, then I'll feel good and hang out with my family more in a present way. And instead, it's the opposite. You got to start practicing those things. And it doesn't happen overnight. So in practical manifestation, I tell people it's a stair-stepper approach. You just start really small and you start with where you're at. You don't leap from the bottom of the ladder to the top in one leap. That doesn't work. And so you go, okay, where am I at right now? Am I like hyper stressed, working 15 hours a day, freaked out about money all the time? If that's where I'm at, then I'm going to do one small 15-minute adjustment in the morning. I'm going to start listening to personal growth and development. I'm going to start getting aligned. And then I'm going to plan from that place. Okay. Then it might look like, okay, now I'm going to make a drop list, and I'm going to go, what are all the things I hate doing that I get frustrated about and I feel bad about? I'm going to make a drop list. And so instead of an adding list, because that's what most people do, we're going to drop a whole bunch of stuff, which means you're either going to drop, automate, or delegate. Doesn't, because some things in your business you can't drop. If you don't like bookkeeping, you can't drop it. Maybe you can delegate it. So you want to make that list, and that's going to start to free up space for you to feel better. And then you start to be able to breathe a little more, and then things start to flow more easily.
I love that. And it's so important, everything that you're saying, to really be in line with your business and stop trying to compare yourselves to other people. I've been working on a project for well over a year. And somebody who started their project the same time I did is already at the end point and has won. And I've started to beat myself up with that same story, going, well, how come I didn't do that? I wasn't in the same place. He had more pieces in the puzzle ready before I did. And so it is something that we do and beat ourselves up with and add stress on and add more things on, rather than, like you just said, get things off, understand where I am, and then move forward. That is the best advice anybody can give right now, especially to me. And I'm sure the listeners are going, hey, me too, right?
Yeah.
Because that is so important. You are where you are today because that's where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So you've given us really, really super simple, like, find 15 minutes in the day and just ground yourself, ideas and strategies to move forward. What can we do? We're talking about money here, right? Money is the result of all the things that we do. And you gave us some really good ideas. But what if we just simply can't attract that money, those clients that we want? What's getting in the way?
Yeah. So I like to talk to people about money blocks, and what really money blocks are unconscious competing commitments. So I came up with this term, competing commitments, because I saw it happening with all of my clients. They would say they wanted something and they would act a different way and not be getting what they say they wanted. And so I was like, what's going on here? Like, this is a very common issue. So, for example, it'd be like, I want to build a 6-figure business. And then they get online for their social media to start promoting something of themselves. And instead of promoting themselves, they spend 5 hours down the wormhole of other people's posts, get completely distracted and sidetracked and procrastinate. So clearly there's a block there, right?
Right.
And so we go, what's going on here. And competing commitments are when you have your unconscious and your conscious battling against each other. And we're run by 95% unconscious and
Really?
5% conscious. That's it, right? So if you
Really?
have unconscious blocks, 95% of you, it's going to win out every single time. And this is where, I think something that's unique about what I do is like, okay, I'm a business consultant. First thing we got to do is unblock the unconscious stuff, because that's actually what's holding you back. It's actually when you get rid of those blocks, it's pretty easy to build a business. There's so much strategy and tactics out there and information on how to build a business. I mean, I could list 100 resources for you to just go like, okay, today I'm going to start a business. If you had your mindset aligned, you'd be fine.
Interesting.
It's the
95%.
mindset piece. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Some
Okay.
people say 99%, but most scientists say 95% of us is unconscious. The reason for that is like, think about if every time you did something again, you had to relearn it to do it. So your unconscious is storing all the information you've ever learned in your life, and it's autopiloting, which is a great benefit, right? Like if your autopilot habits, thoughts, beliefs are set up for success, you're golden. If they're not, you're going to get stuck. And so most people get downloads when they're kids of things that they think are just true. So, in money blocks land, we go, okay, when I was little, I watched my parents fight a whole bunch about money, and it was really stressful in our house. Maybe even you grew up in a super wealthy house, but your parents worked a lot and they weren't around a lot, or they were stressed about it. You saw fighting in your mind, you got an unconscious download that says money causes stress. So you're going to subconsciously block yourself from making more money, because you think if I make more money, I'm going to be stressed out and it might lead to fighting. Right. And so until you unblock all of that, you can't move past in an easy way. You might be able to break through some, but usually what happens is people have a money set point. They'll get to a level and then somehow they sabotage. Yeah. And so I love to help people with those things, because that's the juice of business, right? If we want to scale our businesses successfully, we've got to be able to break through those money blocks in order to get to the next level. And you're always going to have them. Money blocks don't go away, because at every level you face a new money block and you go, oh, here's another layer of deeper stuff that unconscious, downloads that I got that I don't realize I have.
Does it usually come from your childhood though? I mean, I'm sitting there thinking back on, did I really have a money challenged childhood? Did I have something that stopped me and put me in the place? Could I not be aware of that? Do you have to hypnotize me? How do you find out?
It's great questions. You'll know because your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So if you are having any blocks in your outer world right now with your money, which would mean you don't have the amount of money you like in the bank, you feel stressed about money, you feel worried about money, you think about money in a way where you don't feel good. Like unless you have a relationship with money where you feel 100% good all the time, you have a money block somewhere. It could be that you got something when you were young, and it doesn't have to necessarily be from your parents. It could be from watching movies. It could be from preachers, teachers, friends, siblings, grandparents, people in your life. You could have one experience in your childhood with money that really impacted you that you just aren't realizing is playing out. And then what happens is, because our belief system is set up to be proven true by ourselves, what our brain does is it starts to track the environment to prove that what you believe is true, and it finds it. So if let's say you believe like, oh, let's say money is the root of all evil. So I teach 3 money blocks. So it's money is bad, money is scarce, money causes stress. So let's say you have the money is scarce money block, and because you grew up in a single parent household and there was a lot of struggle and never enough, and you were worried about money all the time. You're probably going to be somebody who overworks and saves money and is afraid that it's going to go away. And so you might have a lot of money. If you have a money is scarce, you might have a lot because you're afraid it's going to go away, but you might feel real stressed about it. And you feel like there's never going to be enough. And so you go, oh my God, I got to work really hard. So until we start to deconstruct that, you're going to feel negative about money. But then what happens is, let's say you had that when you're a kid, then what you're doing is tracking the environment for money is scarce. You'll find news stories about it randomly. You'll hear people talk about it. You'll see it everywhere. You'll focus on poverty. You'll focus on marginalization. And then it'll reconfirm in your mind that that's true. And so that's what we're doing all the time. We're setting ourselves up to believe the stories we tell the beliefs that we got downloaded young. And then that's why we go like, it's true though. I believe it. It's like the whole paradigm that you create. So it's my job when I work with people to go like, let's look at your stories. Like, what are you telling yourself about money? Most people never take the time to even go, what do I believe about money?
Right. That's what I'm sitting here thinking. I'm going, okay, well, maybe this happened, or maybe that didn't happen, or maybe it was my ex-husband that,
Sure.
because I had a great flow and then I met him and then it went to crap. And then it's been taking me years to come out after him. So I'm
Yeah,
thinking maybe it's him, I mean, because we all have something,
sure.
I'm not a bazillionaire, so I still have some money blocks. But that's really interesting how one thing leads to the other and leads to the other. You said there's three things again. There's the
Yeah,
money's bad.
money is bad, money is scarce, and money causes stress are the three main that I saw
Gotcha.
time and time again with entrepreneurs. And so
Interesting.
under those is like, if you think about like money is bad, it's a whole paradigm of beliefs that come along with that, and then certain sabotage that is just so patterned. And I could see it over and over and over again. I was like, wow, this is
You're
fascinating.
probably like, Marcia, you're a book and you're on page right here. I can tell right here.
It does get to be like that, where it's like people will go, you're reading my mind, and how did you, like, someone called me the money healer, and I'm like, it's just that I know human behavior, and I can see the patterns, because that's how I was trained in my sociological research. It was like, okay, how do I see patterns across many people and see the overlaps of those patterns? I just kept seeing it time and time again. So I created a money blocks profile to help people move through it more quickly.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, what are some of the things that we can do now? I mean, can we figure out what our own money blocks are, or do we really need to have a professional help us work through
Yeah, you absolutely can. Definitely have people take the Money Blocks profile. It's easy, moneyblocksprofile.com. It takes 2 minutes, and then they get information and exercises. The thing is, yes, absolutely. I did it for myself. I started working through, and I was strategic about it. I decided when I was on food stamps and I started building my business, I was like, I got to transform my relationship with money. So I started
that?
learning and reading everything I possibly could about money. And most people will come to me and say, I have a really unhealthy relationship with money. I'm frustrated. I'm stuck. This and that. I said, well, tell me what you've done to fix that. And they're like, nothing. Literally, they're
Mm.
like, I've never read a book about money. I've never, like, well, of course, that's where you're at. Like, why do we expect to be good at something that we haven't put any energy into?
Why do you
Doesn't
expect to lose the weight if you don't cut calories, right? Or exercise on
exactly,
it? It's very simple.
totally. It is, and it's been fascinating to me to watch people think that they should be good at money, even if their parents might have been. There's always places to find, like, their belief system that got downloaded. Let's say their parents, I have a lot of people, they'll say, well, my parents, were wealthy, and they, they were good at saving, and we had a house and this and that. And then when we dig into their money story, they're like, oh, because, your parents might have said something to you about, money doesn't grow on trees, hard work, you got to work hard to be like this. And then you get that download, like, I got to work hard to make money. So then when you start building your business, you believe, I got to work hard to make money, which means it's not going to come easily to you, which means you're going to get burned out and stressed, especially for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs, there's a lot of fear involved with money.
Yeah. Wow.
So yes, when you ask the question, I'd say for people listening, start first by doing some journaling today and ask yourself, like, I love when I do have people do money stories, I have them answer the question, what was my very first memory of money? And just that alone is insightful. People go, oh my God, I remember from 60 years ago what my very first memory of money is. And then
Wow.
you start to realize there's a lot of imprinting that went on there.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So once we figure out what our money block was, is it easy to knock down, or is it just a simple exercise of instead of going left, you go right?
I will say, I love the word that you use, the word easy. The roadmap is incredibly simple. What gets people stuck is that it's probably, I think, one of the hardest things to face your shit.
I gotcha. Looking in the
Like,
mirror is always hard, right?
right? Like,
You're
you
like,
gotta
oh,
be driven and committed and recommit every day, because what happens is a fear comes up, and the first thing you want to do is fight, flight, freeze. Like,
mm-hmm.
and it's all of this is based on unconscious fears, right? So all of it. So it's either you're in flow and you're in your zone of genius, you're in joy, you're in inspiration, or you're in fear in some way. It's all masked as fear. Procrastination is fear. Perfectionism is fear. Sabotaging money is fear. All of it's based in fear. And so what happens is it gets triggered when you start to face it. It's like, oh, shit, this is scary. And we want to hide and run from it. So, you can do it on your own, and it's helpful to have somebody walk you through, because they can call you out and go like, hey, don't let your fear run you. Let's keep on course. You got this. Like, it's always helpful to have a cheerleader. So yes, some
I
people
100
can
agree.
do it themselves. Absolutely. And it's easier to have a guide.
Yeah, that's fantastic because, I think through, I'm a coach. I believe in coaching. It has really taken me to so many different levels that I couldn't see myself. So I 100% agree that, having help in an area that you've been stuck for 60 years or, 50 years or 10 years or just this last year, even if you're stuck, you need some help to get to that next level. I mean, athletes do it all the time. Professionals do it all the time. Why can't we do it? Right? Why
Yeah,
can't we ask
totally.
for that help? I
Yeah.
think that's a block we all should have to deal with too, is asking
Yeah.
for help
Oh,
because
it's
we're
so
super
much.
people, right? We're
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. We can
Well,
do it all.
and you're especially with coaches. Coaches think I should have all the answers and I should be able to figure this all out on my own. And it's
Yeah.
okay. Everybody has blind spots and everybody needs
Yeah.
support. And to take it to the next level, like I always think it's interesting when coaches say like, "Oh, I don't need help," and I go, "Well, like, what you're asking people to pay you for help, but you're not willing to get help. That doesn't make sense."
That was the biggest shift for me years ago was when I started getting help. And it's actually transformed my business into what I'm doing now
Yeah,
because I reached out and asked for help on how to grow my business,
me
which
too.
turned into this, snowball effect of me going, I learned all this fantastic stuff. Let me share it with you. And that's how my business evolved. So I think everybody, I mean 100% everybody,
Yeah,
nobody's an island.
no,
Nobody's standing there all by themselves holding up their own world. They need help. and
yeah,
and I think the thing that we have to do first is realize we have something blocking us. We have a challenge that maybe somebody can help us with, and money is a huge thing that makes it's the tool that we use for everything in our life. We
yeah.
use it for food, we use it for clothing and safety and dreams and support and not having to work and everything. It all ties to that one tool. The one
Yeah,
tool. God, why are we sitting here talking about not having coaching on money
right.
when it's the
Yeah,
most valuable tool, important
yeah.
tool that we use every minute of the day?
I so agree with you. It's part of the reason that's what I chose to coach about is because for me, I love doing money work because it's such a clear, tangible outer expression of what's going on inside.
Mm.
Because you're right, the word comes to mind, infiltrate. Like it infiltrates every part of your life, your relationships, your parenting, your business, your
Your
belief
health.
system, your feeling, yeah, your health, your well-being, your sense of power and purpose. I mean, it's like a big overarching symbol of what's going on inside. And so for me, it gets easier. It's fast and easy way to help people through their limiting beliefs, because what they believe about money is their relationship with themselves in a huge way.
That's fantastic. All right, Amanda, my goodness, where can listeners find out more about you, figure out what their money blocks are, and work through it?
Have everyone absolutely go take the 2-minute quiz. It's moneyblocksprofile.com. So moneyblocksprofile.com, that'll give you your top money block that's operating at the current moment. And then it'll actually teach you, then it gives you a 20-minute webinar about after you get your results. So if all you want to do is look at your results, awesome. But then you can also watch a video that teaches about all three, because you're going to alternate between them. And so what will happen also, it's like you might notice, oh, I have one right now. Maybe you have all three right now. And then you break through to the next level, or let's say something big in your life happens, you'll discover something else operating. So, say like you get married, new money blocks will show up. You have kids, new money blocks will show up. You break through to a different level in your business, another money block will show up. So what these tools do that I teach you starting there is how to transform and grow through them and use these
Mm.
tools on a consistent basis, because there's no fix all. I think people are looking for like, here's
There's
my
not. There's
magic
no magic pill. There's no
right.
magic pill.
I always
We're
tell people
done.
like, you're the magic pill, like you are the magic pill. Learn tools so that you can shift quickly, because none of
Mm.
this stuff goes away. We're human beings. You might notice longer stints of time between challenges coming up that you're like, oh, this is coming up, but then you have the tool to do it. So I always tell people this happens to me too. I just now have tools where I can get over it in a couple hours, whereas it used to hold me back for literally years.
Mm.
And now I'm like, okay, I can transform more quickly. And so I don't get stuck as long. I still have things come up. Everyone will. It's just that you want the tools to transform quickly so that you don't have to stay stuck.
Wonderful. Give us that name again.
So moneyblocksprofile.com. And then all the other awesome stuff is at my website, NFA Money. So if they go to nfamoney.com, there's links to courses, my podcast, YouTube, all kinds of cool stuff there.
Fantastic. This was such a good conversation. I mean, we're all coming out of whatever crap that we've been in the last year and a half plus. You know, those are blocks too, that these tools can help us shift and continue, because there's never a straight path, right? It's always just right and left turns. You know, you're tacking and pulling and going down the road. And if you can adjust quicker, then you're going to be farther ahead and happier and less stressful. So
yes,
Amanda, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was really great, really helpful. I'm going to go take that profile test.
Awesome.
I figure out what craziness is going on inside of me that's stopping me from achieving the goals that I want. Because I mean, you know, we all have them. I'm doing really well, but I know I could be doing better. And so I'm sure the listeners are feeling the same way. Either they're not doing as well as they want to, or maybe they're trying to get to that next level. Just do the little steps that are needed to help you. Why carry an anchor along, right?
Right. Well, and just imagine feeling amazing about money every day. That's what you want.
I think we want to feel amazing about everything, including ourselves, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening today. I hope you found an idea or two that you can put into your business that will help you be more profitable. Since we're talking about money, this is the foundation of everything. So, hey, now more than ever, it's important to build your own profit plan. So go pick up my 5 ways to turn your business into one we're selling right now. Even if you're not ready to sell it, these are tips that you want to use right now to turn your business around. Go get those at my website at trajectorybiz, that's biz.com. And we'd love, Amanda and I would love to hear your questions, ideas. Tell us what your money block was after you did the profile, and what kind of steps are you doing to improve yourself? Hit us up, comment on the podcast, and then don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be doing some more great things next week. And you can always catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks, Amanda.